Ladies and gentlemen, what do you say when your prospect says, I need to think about it, or let me think about it, or any variation of that? Most agents and most salespeople, they freeze up like a middle schooler on a first date the second these words come out of their prospect's mouth. But in this video, I'm going to show you guys the best foolproof way to overcome this objection that just absolutely knocks it out of the park. So without any further ado, let's jump into it. I'm going to start here with the fundamentals, like the basics of, like how we want to approach any objection, and then I'm going to get into like the tactics of specifically overcoming let me think about it. So stick around to the end of this video. It's going to absolutely change your life. So first thing we need to learn is the triple A's, and no, I'm not talking about batteries. We're talking about agree, answer, and ask. So whenever you overcome an objection, there's two ways people overcome objections. One is wrong and one is right. The first way is they try to overcome the objection head on, right? So the prospect's on the other side, they're looking head on the prospect and they're objecting with the prospect's objection, which is not what you want to do because it makes you an adversary. Now all of a sudden, you're basically disagreeing with what they say. And as you guys can see here, it says agree. We don't want to disagree. So the correct way to do it is stand sideways to the objection, and you're basically their ally and you're helping guide them over the objection. You guys are like, okay, cool, so this is the problem we're dealing with together. Let's address this, right? You're standing sideways and you're helping them overcome the objection instead of disagreeing with them and just, causing conflict with your prospect. So the first thing we want to do is agree, right? Let me show you guys an example of this. I'm going to use the I need to talk to my wife one as an example because I need to think about it. We don't actually use this exact framework, but I need to teach you guys this so you understand how to even overcome this objection. But I need to think about it as like the unicorn objection that is completely different from all the others, and that all makes sense in a second. So agree. Let's say I need to talk to my wife. Mr. Jones, I think that makes perfect sense that you want to talk to your wife, right? I just agreed. Now I want to answer it. With everything that you told me about how you were trying to protect your wife and do this and do that, whatever, blah, 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 right? Answer the objection. And then ask, you're just going to ask a question. And this is where, the magic happens, asking the question. Do you think it would make more sense, with everything that you told me, do you think it would make more sense for us to just go ahead and knock out this application and make sure we can get you approved? Whatever it is, right? And that's not actually how you would overcome I need to talk to my wife. I'm just giving you guys a quick little example here so you guys understand the agree, answer, ask framework. So you're agreeing with them. I think that makes perfect sense. Answer, which is actually why you give the reasons why you think they're wrong. You're not saying it in like a conflict way. You're just kind of suggesting it like, here's kind of what I think, but what do you think, right? Agree, answer, ask. Boom. So we got that. Now let's talk about the three different types of objections. So I've actually got this framework from Alex Hormozy, and this is the three layers of objections. So basically kind of the way that it is, it's like an onion, right? So the three different layers. On the outside, you have circumstances. This is C. And then you have others, which is O. And in the middle, you have self, which is S. So circumstances, other, and self. So circumstances is the outermost layer of the onion. And that is basically like, oh, it's too expensive, or oh, I don't have enough time, or blah, 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 blah. Anything that they blame on something else. Others is when they're blaming it on someone else. Oh, I need to talk to my wife. I need to talk to my pet monkey. I need to talk to my, dog, whatever, accountant, whatever it is. Self is I need to think about it. I need to think about it is like the only one in self. I don't want to make this decision, right? So those are the three different layers of the objection onion. Now let's talk about the two types of objections. You have real objections and you have smokescreen objections. This is very important to understand because basically sometimes your prospect will give you a real objection, which is like an actual reason or an actual problem that you should help them solve. Like, oh, I don't have enough money to do this. Like legitimately in my bank account, there is not $80 a month to put towards this insurance. That's a real objection. Like they're not just making that up. And so if you try to overcome the objection head on and you're like, well, you should have $80 a month in your bank account. Like you're not getting anywhere. You're just disagreeing with your prospect and causing unnecessary conflict. So we basically need to find a way to discern, is this a real objection or is this a smokescreen objection? And if it's a real objection, How can I overcome or solve the problem with them instead of causing conflict? And if it's a smokescreen objection, you just need to blow through the smoke and find the real objection. Pretty simple. So for example, I need to talk to my wife is sometimes actually a real objection. Sometimes people do actually make decisions with their wife. Sometimes they do actually need to run it by their wife because they don't want to cause a problem. If I'm going to make a business decision, I'm going to run it by my business partner. And if I'm on a sales call B2B, I'm talking to someone trying to sell me something, and they're like trying to push at that, like they're going to lose a sale they could have otherwise had. So you have to know when to pull back and when to kind of let it go. But here's the thing. I need to think about it is 100% of the time a smokescreen objection. It's always smokescreen because they don't need to think about it. If they had the information, they would just make a decision. If they were completely certain one way or another, they would make a decision. So it's always 100% of the time a smokescreen for uncertainty, but uncertainty about what? And that's what we have to figure out in order to overcome this objection. So you have to blow the smoke to find the real objection. Because again, I need to think about it 100% of the time is smoke. So what do most people do? Well, most people, they actually have this concept down to an extent, but they're standing directly opposed to their prospect and they're disagreeing with them and causing conflict. They say something like, well, Miss Jones, what do you need to think about? Do you not like me? Like just something completely stupid like that, right? And here's what happens when you say something stupid like that is your prospect goes full on build the wall. They're going to put up the walls of resistance and they're completely checked out for the rest of the sales call, which is not good. So how do we actually blow the smoke without having our prospect saying build the wall? Well, let me show you guys. And that starts with me flipping this whiteboard. You guys may have thought I only had one side of the whiteboard, but I actually have two. So here we got a picture of Miley Cyrus on a wrecking ball, and we're about to wreck the wall of shame or the wall of buying resistance. We got agree, answer, ask, and I got 3 different steps here. So now we're going to get into the exciting part, the tactics, as far as how you actually overcome this objection. So again, we're going to agree, answer, ask. Basically, there's 3 steps to overcoming this. So first, I'm going to start with the wrecking ball. So basically, what you want to do whenever somebody gives you the objection, I need to think about it, is you go like this. First, we're going to start with the agree. Miss Jones, I think that makes perfect sense that you want to think about it. And, I want to give you that time to think about it for sure. How long do you think you need to think this over? Maybe 2 days, 2 weeks. How long do you think you need? I'm literally just going to ask them point blank. How long do you think you need to think this over? So all of a sudden, person on the other end of the phone, they're like, I've never had a salesperson act like this before. I thought they were going to ask me something stupid like, do you not like me, or do you not like the product, or what do you not like? Like something like that. But no, we're actually going to let them set the appointment. Yeah, okay, cool. So, how long do you think you need to think it? 2 days or 2 weeks? And I always give them 2 different times. One that's like more reasonable, like 2 days, and then one that's something stupid like 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever. And they're going to say something closer to like 2-3 days. Give me a couple days, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Okay, perfect. So we'll just set the appointment. So 2 days from now, that's Monday. And Ms. Jones, would you rather have our appointment earlier in the morning or later in the afternoon, just so I can kind of get back to you on this? Let's do later in the afternoon. Okay, yeah, that's totally fine. And would you rather do 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock? What works better for you? Oh, let's do 7 o'clock. Boom, set the appointment, put it in your calendar, go through that whole process like you're setting a follow-up. That's the wrecking ball. That's Miley Cyrus coming in on the wrecking ball and just absolutely demolishing the wall of shame there. Now all of a sudden, the guard's down. We start cracking jokes with the prospect again. It's all cool. There's no pressure. We've just set the appointment. They're off the hook. And then now we're going to come in. We're going to blow the smoke. Right? So here's what you say. Got it. So Miss Jones, I got our appointment confirmed for 7 o'clock on Monday. And this is what you're going to say exactly word for word. And just so I know what questions to answer for you when we get back together on Monday, what were you more curious about? Was it the price of the program, or was it how the program worked? Right? So I'll say that one more time. Perfect. And so we got our appointment set for 7 p.m. on Monday. And Miss Jones, just so I'm prepared to answer whatever questions you may have, were you more curious about the price of the program or how the program worked? So all of a sudden, I took the buying pressure off, and now I'm going to blow the smoke and find the real objection. So either I'm saying, is it the price or is it how the program works? Which are usually the two main things they're concerned about. So if it's the price, you'll be like, oh, well, it's more so just the price. I'm, kind of want to shop around and do things like that, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Okay, well, now that I got you here on the call, if it's more of a price thing, would it be more helpful if I, look at something a little bit lower and we can find something that fits into your budget together? Boom. Now all of a sudden, I found that the real objection is price, and now I can address that, agree with the prospect, answer the objection, and ask a question. Boom. Okay, no, it's not the price, it's how the program works. Okay, that makes, I totally get that. Answer the question, re-explain how the program works. Value stack, well, Miss Jones, this is what this program is going to do for you. This is how it works. It's going to be whole life insurance. It's going to start day one for you, and it's going to protect little Billy so that he's not going to have to pay that big funeral expense like you said. Does that answer all of your questions, like as far as how the program works? Does that kind of make sense to you? Yeah, that makes sense. Well, shoot, now that I got you on the phone, if that makes sense, why don't we just go ahead and knock this application out right now? Now all of a sudden I've overcome the real objection. And again, sometimes they'll give you another objection, but you just agree, answer, ask it, and just blow those objections out of the water. So again, one more time, guys. I need to think about it. Perfect. Let's set the appointment. Wrecking ball. Miley Cyrus comes in with the appointment. Knock out the wall of shame. 2, blow the smoke. And perfect. We got that appointment set. And Miss Jones, just so I'm prepared to answer whatever questions you have, were you more curious about the price of the program or how the program works? Boom. That's blowing the smoke. And then 3, we're going to just hit the bullseye, answer the rude objection, which they're going to tell us when we blow the smoke. So is it the price? Is it how the program works? Agree, answer, ask. Hit the bullseye and get the sale. Ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly the best way to overcome I need to think about it. And if you want to see this objection overcome in action on a real sales call, click this video right here. And without any further ado, thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you got value from it. Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.